Okay, welcome to Game Week 292's lineup builder. Normally in a live stream form, today, contingencies. We had to resort into Zooming it. I am joined by SimplyAlex.
Hey, come on.
Quinny 3001. And Mcbrideace.ETH for the first time on the channel. How we doing?
I'm on the hoops.
Yeah, on the hoops.
Buzzing to have you all on, lads. Yeah, today's sort of theme is going to be heavily Celtic based, as you could all probably tell if you're watching at home. I've got three massive Celtic fans with me to preview the opening game week of the Scottish season. How buzzing are we?
I'm pretty buzzing.
No, come on.
probably not as buzzing as Quinny given his teams, but yeah, I'm pretty excited for it.
Are we all set lineup wise? I'd hope we are, but there might be some tinkering.
Yeah, I think we've made our teams now about 5,000 times in the last, especially the last 3 weeks, watching the preseason games and seeing the new signings coming in and everything. But yeah, I just kind of paused there because I think people are probably sick of me talking about Celtic at this point. It feels like it's been the longest summer ever, you know. And I did a tweet on Monday. I was like, "Welcome to the longest week of my life," and it's actually been kind of quick, you know, with the Serie A announcement and then the Matrix change the day after.
Yeah.
Maybe we get something else on Monday. Maybe we get something on Friday as well. Who knows? So the weeks actually went kind of quick, even though I thought it was going to be, you know, slow and dry and dull and dead.
No, it's been it's been a good week, to be fair. Matrix change is obviously the biggest talking point, I would say, this week. Quick thoughts, Al, what do you think?
I like it. I think if you had this matrix from the start, it makes more sense. I don't like how quickly they rolled it out. Like you saw Trent's getting bought up, Kimmich's. It's like that 1 month, 1 month in Sorare terms isn't that long, especially if they're already top scorers, and just going to get better. So I would have made it 2-3 months when the changes. Ideally, at the end of last season, end of, June, whatever it is, probably not, a bit earlier, they say, right, come the start, we'll be having it like that. Everyone would have been fine. Of course, I saw little complaints about kind of the goalkeeper matrix and stuff, but bad players aren't meant to score well. That's kind of my short assessment of it.
McBride?
I thought it was quite good. It's been landed on people quite quickly, but I think the thing is, you say with this coming in 2 or 3 months' time, then I think it probably has the same effect anyway. So I think that maybe if they had alluded to it before, whatever they said, we're going to review it or whatever, that might have been better. But then you get the wild speculation of, this might happen, that might happen, or maybe it kind of kills the market a wee bit because people don't want to buy somebody because they don't know what the new Matrix is. So I think with the way they've dropped it is probably the lesser of two evils. Anytime you change it, it's going to cause effects. I do feel a wee bit sorry though for people who've been sort of buying cards Matrix-wise, getting ready for the Euro season, because for us, we've got a bigger gallery. I've got some guys that like it, some guys that don't like it. But I think for the good of what's happening, that had to happen. So it's interesting. I would have probably have done... I think that 5-team stacking is a problem for Sorare going forward as well. But we've got specialists and stuff now, and we've got underdogs with under 50 and no goalkeepers and stuff. So they're kind of easing that stuff in. But I think overall, that's in the future, going forward, that'll be a problem as well, because one results could dominate a weekend type thing, and it does often do that. So yeah, be interested to see what they do with that. But I think we're getting there. I think the tournament stuff just now are pretty good. So yeah.
Quinny, anything to add?
No, nothing the guys haven't said already. I think at this point we've all kind of went over our gallery and played with the toggle and Sorare data. Right, okay, he's a wee bit better. Oh no, shit, he's he's not quite what I thought he was now.
Yeah.
And it's kind of and again, we've all been kind of singing this song at some point over the summer, but past data does only give us so much anyway. So depends on what player we're talking about. It means even less. Again, I was doing one of my live streams. Somebody was like, "Oh, Vinicius Souza is going to be a big winner from this," and yeah, if you look at Vinicius Souza's graph, he does win big, but that's him playing for Mechelen in Belgium still. It's still not him playing for Espanyol in La Liga, so the data means zero, really, So it's about looking for data that's meaningful. and something that you can forecast.
Yeah, that's the big one, isn't it? The sort of what you're going to expect going forward. Like, you can only do so much with past data, and especially when you've moved clubs, that is the big one that people really miss. Like you said, Sousa's going to a completely new league, new team, probably very similar position, but that doesn't mean he's going to score anywhere near sort of the scores and the peaks that he's done in previously. And that applies to any player that's moved to a different league and stuff. Going back to the stack situation, like I said, the video is obviously, or the title, I guess, is kind of Celtic themed. I mean, in terms of what McBride said, in terms of like stacks last year dominating game weeks, Ajax comes to mind straight away for me. Like, last year was my first full season on Sorare. I joined the season before, but halfway through, and a big reason for me, like, sort of dipping out a challenger at the time, because I didn't have any Ajax players that really did sort of put me off. And then obviously since then we've seen, the emergence of Celtic on the platform, the SPFL. Do we think, ultimately, do we think Celtic is the new Ajax? Is probably the easiest question I'm going to ask.
What was Zagreb? Or Salzburg?
I'm not having that. I think Celtic will be the closest in terms, like, in their given league, they're the most similar for me than Ajax are in their league. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're the equivalent in my sort of in my brain. They might not score as well, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah. I do think we're overrated in terms of, like, we're going to dominate exactly like Ajax did. I think we'd do great in the league, but SO5 terms doesn't always correlate, like, especially the midfield, right? Who are you going to pick? And then the matrix update harms our defenders a little bit, I'd say, like CCV and Starfelt. So yeah, Joe Hart hasn't scored particularly well on the platform either. So, Kyogo up front, I don't think we'll put the same scores up as, say, like a Tadic or a Haller. So I think we are a little bit overrated. We're not going to be an Ajax. So maybe that's just me. I'm sure Quinny is hoping for the opposite, but yeah.
I don't agree.
Yeah. I did make a video saying Celtic will be the best team in the world this season. So I'm firmly of the opinion that I think we're going to kick ass and take names. But I do just when we're talking about those powerhouses, like, that's the only reason I reference the other teams is because it's not just Celtic. There is other teams out there that
of course
they do rule the roost of their own little patch. And somebody was telling me just how OP Zenit are going to be this year. Just with all the foreign lads leaving the league anyway. So a lot of these kind of middling teams have got, notably weaker, and obviously the 15% kickers that they're going to be working towards through the season. And I said this to lads I was chatting to today, like, similar point to what Alex was saying. Like, if this was the matrix we've had like a year ago, like, probably there's no really too many issues. If you joined Sorare today, like, brand new, and you went into Global All-Star Rare and you went to fill in a full Celtic stack, and it said, or any team, and it said you can't do that, maximum limit is 4. Like, I don't think anyone in the world would blink at that. I think you can have discussions and debates when it gets to like 3 and obviously 2, like we're doing specialist underdog and whatever. But I think 4 out of 5, I don't think anyone really, turns their nose up at that or sees that in any way unreasonable. And I know Sorare do like to keep it, you can do anything in All-Star in these kind of divisions, in case, like, you are just we used to say Monza because it was funny. Now it's not really as funny anymore, but because I'm spending money. But like, if you're a Monza fan, you just wanted to buy Monza cards and just mess about and whatever, then you should have the ability to do that. Sorare do want that to be available. But equally, like, with some of these game modes, or even if it was just limited to All-Star where you could do the 5-man play, and then everywhere else, all the regions perhaps, it was max 4 from one team. Again, I don't think you'd get anyone that would blink at that.
Yeah, it's a fair point. It is a fair point. I don't know. I'm not going to say the stacks aren't going to dominate this season, because there is going to be certain game weeks and certain teams they're just going to blow up. But 5-man, I think it's just going to, I don't know. I just got a weird feeling we're just not going to see as many 5-man stacks going around. I don't know why. I've got a weird feeling. It just seems like maybe it's just not the meta anymore. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. McBride might have a different opinion of that, but I don't know. I have a funny feeling we're just not going to see. I think we're going to see more, defensive stacks combined with maybe an attacking stack from a different team, if that makes sense. I think that would be more optimal most weeks in my head right now. Let's see how this season plans out. McBride, have you got anything to oppose on that opinion?
I think force too much. I think
Oh, wow.
It's probably not optimal for a lot of teams to run 5, but I think that there's a fun element. So people were having a wee whinge again about the Challenger at the weekend, and you had CSK, Dynamo, and Zenit all 1-0, and the scoring was ridiculous. And a lot of those guys will have stacked at least 4. I would go 3 and 2. I know that people maybe have a full Liverpool stack, a full Bayern stack, full Real Madrid stack, will like that, but I would. And coming back to Celtic think Hart kept 19 clean sheets in the league last year. Vickers' best performances are in the league, and obviously we'll come to the outfielders and everything as well. But Celtic are a team who are stackable, whereas I've got loads of MLS guys, and I hate stacking MLS. I'll usually go like Nashville, got a home game. I don't mind playing them at home, but away from home, I'm like, not very good. And there's just not many like teams like in certain leagues that are stackable. So like, Ajax were really good last season because they were stackable. The 2 centre halves were pinging in big scores and they scored loads of goals, but not all big or good teams are stackable. It depends how they play and how tight they are at the back and how that affects their scores going forward. So you've got to consider a lot, and people will say, well, it's not really always optimal to stack 5. So if that is the case, well, what's the problem with putting in a restriction and making it a bit more fun so that people have got to pick two results rather than one result, or just kind of increases the variance a bit, I think. But yeah, it's risky as well. Obviously you run a full stack and they're rubbish, then well, your team's dead. But I think the new rules as well, if you concede 1 or 2 goals, are quite a penalty for like a 3-man defensive stack as well. So I think you'll see maybe people changing it up a bit anyway, because if you concede say 2 goals and you add all the minus points into the defender plus the goalkeeper minus points, then you're coming right down a bit there. And like Bayern were a good example last season. They'd always seem to like concede 1 goal, but sometimes you still have guys like scoring pretty well. But if you start taking like 15 points or whatever off their stack, well, last season that was the difference between maybe winning a card and not winning a card. So be interested to see how that plays out. It was a bit of a stealth stacking tax or whatever on the defenders, I think so.
Yeah,
high reward.
Yeah, definitely. The other side is if you take away the stacking, does that mean that if somebody's got a cheaper Bayer Leverkusen, well, they're probably a bad example because they're pretty expensive as well, but like you've got another team who beat somebody 4 or 5-0 at home and they've had their day, and people can't stack them to beat the other stacks. So stacking can also benefit people who are on a lower budget as well. It doesn't just benefit guys with a bigger budget, but obviously if you run a Real Madrid stack, they were brilliant last season, goalkeeper, defender, scoring goals. So yeah, it's hard to beat in champ. So
it feels like a wee bit more as well. Well, a lot of these kind of changes we've got with the defensive players, that will be we'll be looking for more goal scorers. We'll be looking for more assist capable people rather than AA monsters in centre back positions and full backs that are actually they're actually centre backs, but they play left back, so they get the ball more slightly and they get some more passes, but they'd never cross the halfway line or whatever it might be. Which kind of suits me because I've got a bad tendency of overbuying on strikers most of the time. So I'm kind of set for that. If that is the new meta, as you were kind of saying, Harry, who knows what the new one will be?
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see, won't it?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see who the meta is this year. But on the whole, like stacking front, I've always said that kind of one fixture shouldn't be able to dictate the whole of the leaderboards. Like I remember Bayern playing on Friday night and they put up like pretty much a 500 score between the stacks and like limited. Yeah. And I was like, this just isn't fun. Like, every single person going into that division knows they can't really win it now. And like, I had huge backlash from, well, probably not huge backlash. I got quite a lot of backlash. People like, well, I love my stack and it's the easiest way for budget players to complete. It's not the easiest way for budget players to compete. It is like the easiest in terms of doing it because there's no thought. You just pick a team and stick with it. It depends who you're trying to appeal to. Like the casual user base wants to stack 5 players because it's so easy. But then your fantasy football like geeks, experts, or just like people that care a little bit more about strategy, they don't want to be able to just pick Bayern Munich every week because they're picking the same players. And it's almost like people say that argument of like, oh, well, you just pick the 5 best players. The five sorry, the 5 highest scoring averages. But that's so much harder than picking one team. Like if you have to pick your favorite player from PSG and then your favorite player from Real Madrid, that's so much harder than just like, well, do I prefer Real Madrid or PSG? So it is a big trade-off. Like I'm a big kind of strategy and like fantasy football guy. So I'd love to see like, 2-1, like I'm not against that, but alternatively we have seen in the specialists where they've limited it already, so you kind of get the best of both worlds. So a couple more with the balance of books, basically, like maybe no stacking in underdog, and specialists you can only play a maximum of 2, and then everyone's happy really, because you get those casual users where, like, say I was going to, let's just say, Bayer Leverkusen, as it came up before, right? I'm going to a Bayer Leverkusen game, I just want 5 of their players because obviously like it's just the funnest way. But alternatively, like McBride's saying, you limit that to 4 or 3. There's no way your enjoyment's cut down any less because you can only have 3 instead of 5 Leverkusen players. So yeah, tricky one. I don't think they'll be changing anything for a year now, at least, which is good for like users in terms of like sustainability, and you know what to expect basically. But yeah, that's my piece.
Sure.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I'm just trying to figure out here now who would. I mean, this is going to change depending on, I imagine, when the new matrix comes into play. I've probably picked the most obvious 4 here, right? Would there be any sort of disputes here?
Nah, I'll just throw Kyogo on top and call it a day.
It's got to be David Turnbull, and not because I've got him for sale at the moment, but David Turnbull, best player.
Starfield.
No, yeah.
So that's really interesting. That's really interesting. One said a forward, midfielder, and a defender there, right?
But Alex, take the piss.
But you wouldn't play Turnbull at all?
No,
I would play Turnbull.
Yeah,
but he's not. I think for Celtic, you've got to pick the guys you think are probably going to play, and Turnbull gets rotated a bit. So he could be like the Fabio Vieira this year, where everybody's saying, "Oh, he plays and he does 100. Why is he not playing?" It's like, well, manager didn't buy him, and there's a system to play, and Celtic fans would love him to be playing. He's a lovely player and he's class, but like, will he play on Sunday? Well, I think he'll start on the bench, so you can't fire him in stacks this weekend, I don't think. So that might change, and things do change, but yeah, he's the highest on scoring, but I wouldn't put him in a regular stack at the moment.
In that list, if just to answer it honestly, I would go for Starfelt as well. On the current matrix. On the new matrix, we're looking at maybe like a Juranovic, but obviously he hasn't got a card. But yeah,
he'd have been close under the old matrix as well, because obviously he likes to get forward and he takes some pens and stuff like that. Yeah. You always say too much because he's not got a card yet.
I know, yeah.
Okay.
I don't think he's a secret anymore.
But he did it. He did. So like Croatia away at France in the Nations League, and he hit a 70. So yeah, people will know him. But I think JJ will be a pretty good one when he's on.
If I was to put an argument across, would anyone consider like Rio instead of McGregor, especially if you were competing on a budget here?
Instead of
no. on a budget, yeah.
Look at Quinny's face.
Like, we didn't
really, so.
Yeah, exactly. We didn't really see Rio's full potential last year. He played like a lot of games, looked a bit fatigued towards the end, and like in the pre-seasons, I've watched and heard that he's just been absolutely electric. The new matrix I haven't checked, but I'd imagine it favors him because he's quite, a lot of duels, a lot of tackles, interceptions and stuff. But it also does favor McGregor, obviously. But yeah, Rio's an underdog, I think, that could pop out of nowhere and be the guy he was before. If you remember when he first joined, it was just like 60s every week, because I remember Laird and Black said it on their podcast, and then I needed him to score any result and he got like a 30, and that was just ringing in my ear, just 60s every week, and I was just looking at my like 24, 30, whatever it was, ruining my thing. So
here's an interesting one, see if you guys can guess it. Like, out of the different card positions on the new matrix, what do you think his best average is? It is pretty close for Rio, but what do you think his highest average is based on the 3 different positions of cards? Because he's got 3 different positions.
That's a defender.
Yeah, Alex?
Yeah. Defender, because we don't concede too many, yeah, probably.
I'd say
Forward.
mid.
Forward?
It's his best friend. Oh, because he gets all the interceptions, is it?
The forward card before didn't score any defensive actions, so the forward card, based on the data from last season, but based on the positions, has got the highest average for the last 40.
I think the only problem, he wouldn't be like an explosive scorer. Like averages are great, but like, you know, if you're looking to top the league, you're going to be.
It's just his floor. The floor on the forward card is really high. You know, you don't get those negative decisive kind of.
The problem with the forward card is like depends who you're going to be putting with him. So some people be quite happy to use a forward card because maybe they can't afford Jota, or they can't, you know, he's about half the price of Fura or whatever. But you've got to fit him into a team as well. So if you want to like run Vickers, etc., then you might not be able to fit the defender card in, depending on who you're playing. But yeah, it's interesting. And also the forward card, obviously. So I've not really thought about it properly, but it's the minus points if you do concede a goal as well. But then I suppose if you're stacking, then you want the clean sheet, don't you? So it's an interesting one.
So we're saying Kyle goes in for the extra position, yeah, as the safest option?
Aye.
Yeah.
Kyogo. That's me.
Start
That's what I would think. But if you get back to what Alex was saying, if you do want to do a budget, like obviously Jota would need to go as well. But but yeah, like McGregor is like 3x the price of Rio, and yeah, I did a video the other day, an academy kind of budget builder type thing. Spent £100 and I managed to get 6 players, and one of them was Hatate at like 45 quid or whatever he was trading at on the day of recording. I think he's like €60 and I don't know what that is in pounds, but I think alongside McGregor, like I was chatting to some Celtic guys doing some content that the other day, and the chat everyone's giving it is Japanese Modric, you know. So if we get a wee bit of that this season, then he'll be great bang for buck next to McGregor as a midfield card for sure.
That's it.
Okay, question: does this 5 compete with an Ajax 5 this season?
Yeah.
On
This
most
season.
game weeks.
This season, but not last season. Last season's Ajax were just ridiculous. This season, yeah. We'll rock and roll. Yeah.
Do you think that's like because Ajax have got quote unquote weaker?
They've got weaker. They've got a new manager. Like there's so many just, you know, other variables. I think the other teams have probably got a little bit stronger as well. Like, and, you know, you just look at like, you know, patterns of teams. Like Celtic just went through their kind of 9 in a row where they were just absolutely demolishing teams. And like, you know, that doesn't, just because it happened the year before doesn't mean it will happen the year after, as we know so well, unfortunately. So, you know, so rare players like to think they price for last year, basically, is how I would say it. So it's like, I don't see it happening. I think Celtic will be
better.
Celtic improve whilst Ajax unimproved, which, yeah.
I think Wendell will be good because his data from AZ last season, and obviously the Matrix helps him as well. So if he's playing a lot left back, the scores will be interesting. And also, if Bassey plays, it might be blind, but if Bassey plays beside Timber, then he's under 23s. And yeah, he's a good big player. So
Bassey could be a U23 defender monster, man, if he gets going.
I just don't know, like, obviously, based on his style. The problem is last season he played some games at left back for Rangers as well, and he didn't score very well. But again, that was under the old Matrix. So, like, when he's playing a good team and he's just kind of doing all the basic stuff and doing everything very well, like, yeah, it's kind of a wee bit reminiscent of Carter Vickers, you know. So, he's a cracking player. Like, I mean, I'm as a Celtic fan, I'm delighted he's left.
Yeah, and quickly as well.
Really good defender.
Imagine like a Bassey, Timber, or Winchdow there, and then you imagine the goalkeeper. You know, the 21-year-old Gorta. That could get the spot. I think it is. That would just be unstoppable, and that would just throw so many people off under 23s. I've got a pretty naughty under 23 team, but I don't think I would be scared coming up.
That'd be difficult. I don't think Gorta will get in. I think it'll be Pasveer or maybe Gellenberg, but I don't. He was playing pre-season, but I think the other guys were injured. So let's see. I think he's got a chance, but like, I don't. He's just been overlooked so many times for like 40-year-olds that you just think if he was good enough to put him in and leave them as backup. I don't know.
I've really got to hope that like the new manager is just nowhere near as good as Ten Hag. Really, like I'm sure we're all pretty in the same. You know, just you can't be that good again. Like, the number of goals. Sorry,
no, I was just going to say, I think in that situation, like even the guy just being able to keep the rhythm of the song going is not what we want. You know, he needs to be. I think he needs to want to play different, or he needs to be actually bad. Because number one, I don't think Ajax would hire somebody that's going to say, no, you're going this way, I'm going to take the team that way. So yeah, I'm hoping that these missing pieces, you know, that they're losing, it makes a real big difference to their actual. In terms of me having Celtic cards and going up against these guys, that's what I'm thinking. Is I'm hoping that you know, these big holes that they're trying to fill, and you know, they're signing players and whatever, which is great. But as we all know with football, you know, one in, one out, there's no guarantee on anything there as a club.
No. I also want to touch on, it probably does filter into price, but no one really talks about the supply. Like there'll be so many more Ajax cards compared to Celtic because of when they're released. So it's like
not for long.
You're picking
I'm sure as soon as SPL comes out, they'll just be like,
turn the death on.
Yeah,
but yeah,
we've not had any for ages, eh? Like you guys will know if you're shopping with them. With me, you know, we barely get auctions for Celtic cards, especially supers and stuff.
Yeah.
And these things are obviously worth money. People will obviously pay a lot of money for them. So I think as soon as the new stuff comes out, it's just going to be.
Yeah.
Is it making sacrilege as well? Can I say it?
Let's hear it.
Tavernier is going to be outrageous.
Yeah, tough.
Have you seen his scores from last year?
Oh, they got better.
Unbelievable. Well, I mean, he obviously at one point I think he was the top scorer in the Europa League.
Yeah,
from back. So I mean, obviously,
no, he finished. He was top goal scorer in the competition.
He's got a lot of decisives, and obviously, as you know, Quinny, the amount of penalties that Rangers get. I mean, come on, like, it's like,
mate. See, on the old matrix, Jesus Christ, man, on the old matrix, he's got 70 score. He's got 7 scores over 70 and 6 over 90, and then on the new matrix,
he's the same last 40 as Trent.
Oh, you got it there, Harry. You got it there.
Yeah, there it is.
Go hit the old matrix.
That's the new, and then this is the old.
Look at that. Look at those top 3 bars, 70 plussers.
Yeah, but look at the new matrix. But
yeah, the new one's unbelievable.
The double one.
That's even have to buy him.
I know. Yeah, you can't buy him, and you're just gonna like hate him even more. Like I do not like the guy, and it's just gonna, you know.
Oh, it'll be the best. It'll be the best card to win, but because you can sell that, no bother. Like you wouldn't even think about selling that.
How much are we saying? How much would he go for?
Oh my!
Where's Trent?
Well, how old is he? 25 or something?
He's not leaving Rangers anytime. Or maybe he does leave Rangers. Who knows?
He's 30.
He's kind of in there with the wallpaper now at this point, you know.
What? I'm saying 2.5 to 3. He can't be any more than that, no?
Mate, look at
or
that.
Can he?
Look at those numbers, man.
I know. But,
What's
Tad
at
the start?
What's Tad?
Tad did just like 3s, isn't he?
I don't know. Tad just seems like kind of.
Yeah, 3.5s.
Tadic pricing. He will basically be Tadic price, won't he?
Yeah, probably about 4. Yeah, 3.5, 4 ETH. He's got to be, hasn't he?
Yeah, but you got to remember there'll be a lot. Ajax got big.
The start will be like it'll be insane because obviously there's no supply of them, and
people want him.
Like he's the best defender and challenger, isn't he? Like is there anybody averaging above that? So they're just bringing in the best defender and challenger basically. So not in terms of real world, no.
That's it. He's on pens and all sorts.
Yeah, he's a freak.
Anybody doesn't know Rangers? Rangers are a wee bit in cahoots with the referees and get lots of penalties in Scotland. I didn't say that. So,
and then again, talking to Celtic people, what they reminded me of is halfway through the season this year, we're going to get VAR.
Really?
It's coming in halfway through the season after the World Cup break. We'll have VAR for the second half of the season. So
I hate VAR.
Obviously, Bobby Madden's gone as well, which is cool.
What penalties for Rangers then?
Probably less. Penalty Rangers. VAR. It'll be that. VAR says penalty to Rangers.
Lads, when do you think the new SPFL card would come out then?
I'm waiting for Tony to tell me it's picture day, and then I'll give you an answer.
Yeah. Well, I saw today they updated the photos for, I think it was one of the Pro League teams, not exactly sure, but it's like you should still have that pre-warning, so you can either raise funds or sell cards that are going to lose XP or whatever. So hopefully you can play to that. But
however, we have 5 games to the season to go. I know they've done it before with River Plate and stuff, but they really ought to get some other leagues out first. Because I know if Rangers have sorted out the thing with the other NFT company and they were in liquidation and obviously a tie-in with them, and obviously Sorare will want to get Rangers on, but can they really shovel them out now after bringing them out with 5 games to go? So I would have them later on in the schedule, And then that means people can get their cards up to 4 or 5% after losing the bonus, and then nobody's really that annoyed about it, because at some point they're out. But yeah, I don't think they'll be out early. I think Juniper should be out pretty soon, and then they've got all the big deals. So when do they drop?
Belgium has to be first, eh?
Yeah, got to be, haven't it? Yeah, it makes sense. I just think it's a bit like you said. Did they come out 5 games before the end of the season? Is that what it was last year or last season? Yeah, it's just like you said with the whole XP thing. It's a little bit cheeky, isn't it? If they did rush the new cards, it's a bit like, hang on a minute, we only kind of just had the old ones really, and we haven't really been able to play them more than 5 games. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I mean, money talks, of course it does. But
some guys will actually have bought them and like not used them.
Exactly. They've been they auctioned Jota yesterday, I think.
So
many. You get a new card.
No, me. I'm not fucking using any of them yet.
But imagine you're a Rangers fan. You're wanting them out as soon as possible. Like, you're trying to get your hands on Tavernier, and half of Sorare are probably trying to get their hands on Tavernier. Like, you'd be itching at the walls. You'd be begging Sorare on Twitter. I can see them dropping them as soon as they're available, really. So,
I think I can agree with what McBride was saying in terms of like the scheduling and whatever, because obviously Belgium have been back for a few games as well, and on top of that, they should have a really sound relationship now with Sorare. Seasons they've been in business, in terms of the girl that sends the email with the pictures. That should be nothing now. At this stage of the game. So I think if anything European comes out, but we've not had anything European yet, have we? I know they've announced Serie A, but nothing's been released.
Nothing's been released.
No, nothing.
Yeah. Belgium really should be the first league that gets new season cards, I think.
Awesome. Cool. Main team for the weekend, Celtic. Hart, McGregor, Super Rare, Furu, Super, Jota. Probably would have been Starfelt, but he's injured. So when Douglas Santos, not a bad replacement.
Not bad at all.
And a wee bit of differential as well. McGregor was first Super I bought from Celtic, so he went a bit cheap as well. It's quite good. It's got him up to 29.5 or something. So he's going to be pretty level with the new cards actually when they come out, because I've had them for a few months. So yeah, 5-0 against Aberdeen, and we're laughing.
What's
yes,
Zenit
please.
like?
Zenit are playing, is an old Locomotive at home or something? I can't remember. Doesn't matter. It's Douglas Santos. You just play him again. He just said, funnily enough, like he did, people will not realise this. He did he played against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, and he done like 67 or something, no matrix. Yeah. So he's one of those guys where he's a wee bit fixture proof and stuff. He plays centre half, he tends to score a wee bit better. Play left back, he gets forward. He sometimes gets assists, and he just racks up bases and stuff. So yeah, he's been a nice one, to be honest. Challenger Europe Limited, Celtic stuck Vanaken in as well. So kind of going for 2 variations. Got Rio playing in the All-Star, and Vanaken against Eupen in the Challenger Europe. So yeah, I think it's sometimes quite nice to have a wee differential in as well. Intention was to run the full teams, but obviously Starfelt's out, and I've got Stephen Welsh, who I think will play, but he's going in the 23s. So mixed specialist Super Rare. Just kind of chucking some guys in here, to be honest. So Rios Novo, probably in a shaky peg. Santalan's a guy I bought for 40 quid. He done a 92 last game. He plays for Universitario, but he's like a hit and misser, so proper hit and misser. Joe Sager, I think he done 62 last game for a decisive, so he's pretty good. Stano just moved, so he wasn't doing very well at John Book, but he just moved, and I think he'll do pretty well there. He's linked up with Palisevic again, so that's the guy he used to play with before. And Pavon's just moved to Monero, so he's been on the bench so far. So he's at average down, and obviously it's specialist, so you've got to have 2 under 40s. Red America, João Ricardo, Sierra goalie, Yaimar won him recently, which was nice. He's done pretty well since. David Martinez, Paolo Vicino, River got a good home game, and CJ Sapong are playing in Nashville, playing Vancouver. Challenger team was kind of starting to get a bit short at this stage, so I've chucked in Sexy Sergi with Stefano. There's absolutely zero chance of Krasnodar getting a clean sheet. but it's my I've won the lottery stack, and Furu and Maeda. Furu Super's playing in our team, and put them in the same team. Show more. 2 seconds. There's more.
Of course, there's more.
How the other half live, eh?
Legends, Maradona, Mascherano. I don't know why I've got John Suter in the Legends. I think I was just running out of guys to play at this point, but actually I think he'll play for Rangers at weekend. They're playing Levy, aren't they? So just dominate that game. Safanov and Gargic's got a good home game. So I just kind of chucked that in a wee bit, like it's a bit of fun, the Legends, I think. But anyway. Super Rare under 23s. That's my leftovers. I don't think Ralston will play, so just kind of chucked that in a bit as well. Under 23 Pro, quite like this team to be honest. So Zako's got quite a good matchup. Struggling a bit for defenders. Alex Vigo plays with Independiente. He's on loan from River, so he's not bad. Does some good scores, but he's a wee bit shafted by the Matrix, so he'll be better with a new one. Pommy, I've had for ages. Utkin started on fire, so he's doing really well at Rostov. And he's quite high peaks in Jesus Ferreira won last weekend. So I think that's pretty good actually for what's available this weekend. I quite like that, but usually when I say that, they're rubbish. Casual chucked in. Underdog Rare. This in under 50s and no goalkeeper. So Barco's been a bit hit and miss, but he has been starting under the manager recently and they've got a good home game. So yeah, and I've got Hatate in there as well. So Hatate's been playing really well, but he's eligible for this stuff as well. Mixed underdog super rare. So again, it's a 4-manner. Kayembe, Saka, Girotti, and Holzhauser. So yeah, he done a 50 last weekend, but he's still eligible for this stuff. So I think he's better than that tournament, but yeah, I'm just trying to fill it out as well. So under 23s, Cookie, Sorinola, people probably not know him, but he's owned by USG, who's playing with like MK Dons. He's on loan at Swansea, but he's a defender card and he's playing left wing in the pre-season. So I think he'll be pretty good under the Matrix. And
nice.
Short of defenders this weekend, to be honest. Like it's like I know I've got loads of teams out, but some of them just didn't really much choice. Saki, captain, Fernando, and Nakamura started pretty well. Limited America, River Defence, Pause, Gill, Dreesy.
Solid.
Say my anymore with that. That's pretty good. I think that's probably the best American team I've been putting out for a while. Specialist Rare, Horvath has finally paid me off. Holding this for so long, the pain of the bench. If he's not playing at the weekend, I'm going to drive down to Luton and kick the guy squarely in the nuts. But yeah, him in goals, Thiago Martins. Everyone's just moved to Flamengo. He's been on the bench so far, but he's had a decisive already. Alan Varela's really solid. And Stano's the under 40. So I've got 2 under 40s there. I think it's Horvath and Stano. Limited 23s, Muric, Burnley debut. Stephen Welsh, because Starfelt's out. Zaki, Facundo Torres playing DC United, and they're absolutely horrendous. And Sesko, he's been playing great. Underdog Limited, as many Celtic players as I could fit in. So Greg Taylor should play, I think. Don't think Bernabei's ready. Tati's been good for a captain, Fernando. Really like this American team I've got. So I've got the Nashville defensive stack. So Willis, Zimmerman, Gill captain, Hanny and Dreesy, and the home to Vancouver. So I really like that team. I think that's probably my second favourite team for the weekend. What we got left? Jeez, I've got a lot of teams here, sorry.
Keep going. I'm intrigued. I'm fully into it now. So
Super Rare
no
All-Star.
stopping you.
Run out of goalkeepers. I do have a Super Rare, but he's injured. So going for Horvath, Sorinola, Utkin captain. He was probably a candidate for a 23s to be honest, but we'll come to that. And Johnny Russell, who's been pretty poor this season, but he's still in pens, and Kansas will have a good game at some point. I'm telling myself. Asia, Langrak, defensive stack, Nakatani, Sin Jinho has been brilliant this season. Gustavo and Stano were playing in the same team, and then obviously Stano's left, so that works out a bit better now because you know Gustavo will probably start.
Yeah. Can I just ask, when you bought all your stands, because this is the fourth one I've seen, and it's like, was it post move or pre?
When the limited came out, so he was about tenner or something. So it's like, he's the old card. He's like the last season's card.
Yeah.
So he's the older one, but he's trained up a bit now, so that's not so bad. Specialist limited, Dici is under 40. He's played at home since Kortrijk, so that's not too bad. Balbuena's joined Corinthians, and they're playing Botafogo at home. Pretty good at the back. Holzhauser, I think he'll be really good at his new team. Stano, he's under 40, and Sesko's been just scoring against everybody, including Liverpool. Super Rare America, that's my leftovers really. Sorry, I'm not meaning to be smug, but that's not a team of fans who's chucking him in.
Yeah.
America Pro, like this one as well, Bernardeschi and Quinny. So I've been holding Big Lorenzo as a call for ages, so I was waiting on that move. Bought Bernardeschi because he's been class so far, and like even though you were saying Quinny, he's a good player, so like obviously at that level, no offense to obviously the MLS, but you know he's probably Serie A standard, so pretty good. Alan Varela just bought. I think he's pretty cheap just now, considering he's under 23s, and he's doing pretty well for Boca, and they're dominating. All-Star Rare, Ray, Zimmerman, Pause, Morioka, and Brenner, and that's my
Alex's face.
I've never seen anything like it.
That's my run through. Then next weekend we'll have Champ as well, so
roll on.
24.
Jesus.
McBride, can I ask you two questions?
Yeah.
Muric, you think he's starting at the weekend?
Yes.
Yeah, cool. And do you think Barco's on for a start this weekend?
He played the last game, so I think so. Like he has tended to play. They bought a few new players in, probably Solari and other guys in and stuff, but he does tend to be sticking with him. Plus, he's the type of guy where if he comes on, he's decisive capable as well. I mean, River are playing at home, so like I think he's got a chance. But I said like sometimes I kind of make the mistake of want to get all my teams out, so I've got to look at this and say prioritize. So the first division I picked was Challenger, so that's actually in the order I've picked my teams, I think, as well. So like Challenger, all the Celtic teams, do all them first. 23s Pro, and then just All-Star Pro and stuff, and work my way through from there. So some of them are kind of I'm fitting in a wee bit after that, and then anybody that's going into training started selling them because I've got some good training teams as well. So tip for everybody: try and sell a wee bit into demand. You know, because you're putting good players into training, you're going, well, you know, I had like a full stack of Club Bruges. I was like, I'm not going to be able to play that because I'm like, when am I going to leave my Celtic guys out? Like, I'm just not going to do it. Too sentimental. Yeah. So, Rangers away, like, I'm playing the stack, we're going to win. So I have started being a bit sensible and sort of turning a few over and stuff now. So there we go. That's teams. Not joined the MLB yet, so you don't need to look at that. Definitely not joined the MLB.
Have you got time for 2 more questions?
Yeah, actually, I could probably hang about for another 10 or 15 minutes. So, Quinny wants to go next. I'll analyse his teams before I finalise.
So your Celtic team is just the expected lineup, the same one that played Norwich, I guess.
I think so.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think Gents is probably better than Welsh, but he only played 20 minutes, and then he got knocked midweek, and Welsh started that game. A lot of people will be mystified as to why Turnbull doesn't play, but Hatate's been great, good work rate, and you're looking for balance in midfield as well. Like McGregor's playing at the base, and then if you don't have somebody in there that's box to box, then you're talking about Riley and Turnbull, who are both guys who go forward. So I think Turnbull will rotate with O'Reilly this year, with Rogic being away. Plus Celtic are looking for a defensive mid, and that might release McGregor a bit further forward. So when I'm doing a stack, I'm looking at right. Hart's always going to play. You're never dropping Vickers. McGregor's always going to play. Jota's hardly ever not going to play. then you fit around that. There's no point like picking a stack and picking a guy like, people keep saying all about Abada and things, but although he can get decisive, he's likely on the bench most of the time just now. So he's a great young player, but he doesn't start enough to say that you're going to want to play him in the 23s this weekend or whatever. And that might change. You get injuries, form, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, you've got to keep a core of a team, I think. And I've been training these guys, so I'm hoping that if somebody else is the same lineup, I should hopefully do them on XP, but maybe not. It's just could be like half a point in it or whatever if it's smash and score, or it's 5 minutes in and Aberdeen have scored and everybody's crying. So.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, my other question.
Go on, one more question. We'll go to
Yeah.
Quinn Dogs.
Do you care about the specialist at all? Because obviously it's like the chance to win up, basically, or just.
I always put quite a strong team in the specialist. When we've seen a specialist team, I really like that because obviously you chance to win a star rare. So where is it?
Go back up to the right, on your right, just above the star all-star rare, I think.
That one, mixed specialist limited. Yeah, I mean it can be difficult sometimes because you're trying to get an under 40 in there as well, and invariably unless you've got a really good player that's been out injured and they're just coming back, you're trying to fit somebody in that's not so good. Or some weeks I actually just buy somebody for it because, like, obviously you want to get a team in. But I quite like that team in it. But I think there already is like a stacking restriction and stuff, and they find the scoring in it's a bit lower. So obviously 6,800 people in it, but if you hit a big score, you're not going to run into 500s. I don't think. There's no captain, there's no card bias, and there's no stacking. So I think it's quite a fun tournament. So I would say like it's one of my favourites at the moment, to be honest. Like I think it's pretty good because you know that you've always got a chance. Like, it's not all-star where you look at somebody get 500 and you say like, nah, that's like impossible based on who I've got playing. So that's fun. And you're always picking different guys. Well, you can't roll a stack in. So like every week your team's going to be different for that as well. So it's quite a good strategy thing. So there we go. We'll stop my share now.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. Yeah, I really do appreciate you sharing your stacked gallery with us. It's just nice to see. I don't get to see that. Like I don't have to, like the show more teams thing. That cracks me up because I've never had to do that.
Sorry.
It's fun. I love it. Okay, Quinn Dog.
These now as well. We'll be whacking out some quality here.
Oh god, that'll show me more. But I've got 8 teams this game week's the first time in ages. It feels like. I don't know. I guess I'll just run top two. I think McBride's right. I think this sets them in the order you make them because this is definitely the team I made first because I've been making this team in my sleep for about 3 months. So basically, kind of speaks for itself. Heart. There's only 35 rares, no super rares, 1 unique. So if you've got a Joe Hart this week, you're not going to come across very many of them. So if he can get a decent score, it could be good fun for him. I fancy Hatate as a defender card in general anyway before the matrix change and whatever, because the rest of the Celtic defence for what we have cards for is either way too expensive or just not that great a regular option. So I think I'm kind of cheat coded out that defender position with Hatate, especially how cheap I got him for and hopefully how good he'll be. And then Maida and Kyogo will kick ass and take names, and the legend that is Callum McGregor, the unique, doing his job hopefully. So I was buzzing when I made this because I've been looking at this game week for so long, and I wasn't expecting a star super rare on the podium in this game week because we don't have Champion Europe yet. So the fact that we still have that up here now, and the prize pool isn't even at its full kind of capacity, if you like. I think that's like game week 296 or so is when we've got everything kind of firing out. Maybe it's 298. So anyway,
I think
yeah. What one is it? Sorry.
2 weeks away. So we're 294 is next weekend, and 296 is the weekend after that, and I think that's pretty much every league running. I think
that's brilliant, man. So 2 more weeks, and God knows, man, maybe we get a star tier super rare podium. That'd be mental, wouldn't it? But I'm just basically shooting for top 10. I'm basically setting and repeating this team. I might change the goalkeeper for a super rare when Champion Europe comes in, but otherwise that team, and maybe Trippier I put in for Rio on occasion or something like that. But otherwise that team kind of is what it is.
You put that back up. I want to see that again. That is just brilliant.
But this team,
I can just sit and look at that all night.
Yes. It's aesthetically
man.
pleasing, isn't it?
It's good fun. I wish I could get a Kyogo in the hoops, but he's not got a super yet in green and white, unfortunately. But we'll just wait for that. This team is actually a really weird one that I've kind of fell into a week ago. Is McBride or no? I stayed up to 3:30 for the Mulgrew unique auction, and then the only time in my life where I said I'm not bidding again, and I didn't, and then I stayed up. It was like 3 in the morning, and I was still a bit wired because it's like you get up for something and then you're bidding, and there was a wee bit of a bidding war, and it went to anyway. So I was going back to bed, and I was like, fuck it. I just diced about the market for 5 minutes, and I ended up getting a Carl's Elena super rare before I went to sleep. Anyway, woke up. Most people know this story, so I'm really sorry. But woke up the next day. The guy wanted to trade me a rare Werner, Timo Werner, for the unique Mulgrew kind of thing. So I've maybe lost a wee bit of ETH on the trade in terms of pound notes or whatever, but I didn't want to spend any more money on Mulgrew. I really don't really care at the moment if I have Werner or not by comparison. And I've now all of a sudden got a D2 challenger team that I could always put Giakoumakis into, regardless if he's starting or he's on the bench, because I think he's always kind of what Mark was saying about Abada. I think he's always going to be goal dangerous, and I don't know when that's going to be. But if he's in a team that should be knocking about anyway and it's just waiting on him turning up, then that's what this team will do. Basically, Van der Versch has got the short straw. He's the only challenger keeper spare this week, and I don't have a great U23 presence. And yeah, I asked Tony, I said if I was to get a super rare midfielder in Scotland, who would I get? And he said Ian Harkes. And he's probably biased because he plays with him, but so I don't know anything else about him. He's American. I think somebody said to me he's good for an MLS move at the end of this season because he's been doing well or whatever. Highly rated. I don't know. Anyway, see how it goes.
Interesting.
This team here, again, I've not got a big U23 presence this week because I don't really think I'll be interested to hear what you think about this, McBride, because we're talking about Muric, but I've not seen Harwood Bellis play at all for Burnley in pre-season, and he didn't really sign that late or whatever. So I don't want to take the leap of faith on Harwood Bellis starting this game week. Subsequently, I'm binning off U23 and forgetting about it. So Jota, Captain Jota till I die, comes into this team alongside rare Kyogo. Mark will be pleased to hear with his super rare Kyogo in this division. And I don't have any other midfielder options really other than Sebastian Lletget. He's been decent for a 60-ish recently, so if he can do that with his SR multiplier, I'll be chuffed. And then Taylor and Sean Johnson, again, kind of speak for themselves. They should start and should play well. And Star Rares for top 15, I think I can dream about that, certainly. But yeah, if I get top 100 with that, I'll be quite chuffed. And that's my
5 points from Jota, wouldn't you? So it's a good start.
Yeah, that's it.
Good record.
And then in All-Star Limited, I'm very similar to McBride. We're just a midfielder different here. And rather than Vanaken for his differential, or I'm sure it was Vanaken you picked, wasn't it? I've went with Magnum.
I think Vanaken's in the Challenger, yeah. I think All-Star, can't remember.
Yeah, you get too many teams. Don't worry about it, bud. And then I've went with Captain Kyogo on this. Star Limited's for 30, I think it's great. For All-Star Limited, there is like 10,000 people, and it is a bit of a raffle in terms of how high you'll finish, but it's decent. Don't care about Limited America. And then Specialist Limited is actually a really fun team. So Abada is one of my L15 under 40, right? We all know Abada's profile, and we kind of spoke about that already. And Malte Amundsen is also still L50 under 40. And if you look at his L5 is actually really, really good. He's coming into some good form now. So that's quite cool. And then I've also got Thiago Martins and Rio Hatate. They're both of my kind of average Joe guys, And then Carlos Lampe is my over 60 player. The goalkeeper. And I don't know, I've not done it deliberately, but I built the outfield, and then he's kind of the best keeper I've got left. I don't need to play an over 60 player, as we all know. I could pick any keeper. So it's just kind of funny how it's worked out. Let's see how well it does. If I can get a rare of any kind, I'll be happy. If I win anything, I suppose I'll be quite chuffed. Eve Bashan, this is literally just who's left over, which is a real crime for Maida and Callens because they're both pretty top, And Tanny, again, not much of a U23 presence this week, so he's Eve Bashan. So we'll see how it does. If Hisaka starts, which I don't think he will, I don't think he's too likely to start. But if he does start, then it might be decent. And if he doesn't, I'm not going to cry about it. And then I've got this team, which is like a kind of community gallery type thing I'm doing in the member section for Challenger Europe. I didn't know Muric was going to play, so I'm I'll play Muric in this team, and
Hope he
let's
does.
let's hope. And I'm I'm hoping Tony scores a goal in the opening game of the season away at Kilmarnock. That should be good fun if that happens. And apparently this boy Nemeth is a decent, okay shout to start because Dessers or somebody's injured. Ito's also linked away. Oyens, yeah, things are happening in Belgium that I don't know about. But apparently this boy Nemeth is good for at least minutes. And if he starts, even better. He's a midfielder card as well. I believe he's a number 9, it turns out, or some sort of actual forward. So this Challenger Europe could get lucky. And Captain Dyson, because I just think he's I think he's a top forward. But yeah. So 8 teams, I'd probably say 5 of them I'm excited about.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely be keeping tabs on those over the weekend. I'm really excited to see that All-Star Super Rare kick in and see how Celtic get on, to be fair. When do they play? Saturday? Sunday?
Sunday at 4:30.
Oh,
prime time. Raising the flag, so it's important.
Fair enough. Now, I'll be, I don't know if I'll get to watch the game, but I'll definitely be...
what else are you doing on Sunday at 4:30, Harry? The world is stopping, you know?
It's a great question, and I'm not going to lie to you. Yeah, probably nothing, but I will be frequently checking the Sorare data app every 5 minutes and seeing if Celtic smash a few guys. Okay, Simply Alex, can we get a sneak peek at your guys for the weekend?
All right, you should be able to see it, and then
we got you.
I want to say, by the way, before we move on, sorry,
Go on.
Was I the only one that was surprised to see McBride as a casual team? In the comment section, I want to know if you were surprised or not.
Just for training. Let's start.
Hopefully, hopefully for the viewers, I can bring everyone down to reality and, not have a McBride type gallery. We started off with, I was absolutely buzzing for this team, mainly just being a Celtic fan. I've never really done the full Celtic team, but then I also, we all know the issues with the kind of Celtic midfield. You really want like an O'Reilly, Hatate's not really like a top end scorer. Kalmak, I think, is good, potentially overvalued, so I wasn't playing him or spending the money on him. So I've got Keeson Young to step in. However, I have been looking at getting someone to replace him, a challenger monster, and then possibly slotting this into challenger, so I don't come up against, every other team in global, basically. The problem is there's so many times where I've done similar things and I've just dropped an Asian player in that, scores quite well, but I just have no oversight of them. I have no idea if that's a good fixture or how Key's going to score.
I can help you. I've dropped Key this week. I'm playing legit over Key because I think that's a horrible fixture.
Yeah.
So that's helpful. That pretty much will encourage me to make the plunge, because if Turnbull,
it's a lovely looking team. I love seeing Key in the middle of that. Exactly. I want to do the same.
Exactly. So what I could do is if Turnbull doesn't sell, loan myself some ETH and then spend it back, because I don't want to put any more in at this stage.
If you've got Turnbull, just play him, because he'll come off the bench. You'll get 30 minutes.
I know. You'll see. Wow. Yeah, you'll see why. Anyway, leading on to the All-Star. Haven't got a goalkeeper to play. These are the only players I think I have in rare. The only other ones I have are like Philip Wisner, who didn't play last week, and Depotro, who also didn't play. So 2 injuries, basically. So Reece Williams, we're really hoping he can hit the ground running at Blackpool. Captain Kalmak, as I said, I got him at a fair price. I think he'll be quite involved against Aberdeen. Maeda's been, a bit of a monster. He's in kind of Hatate's group where we didn't see exactly how good he can be. I would tip him to, get closer, have one of the best improving averages this year, maybe. Interested what the other Celtic guys say. And then Lila Barda, we got a Barda on the wing. We love him. We don't think he'll start. Yeah, it's just a matchup thing. I can see him starting at some of the lower oppositions, but against Aberdeen, you need that Maeda press, basically. And, Jota's going to be pretty nailed. Ideally, top threshold, realistically, bottom threshold is probably what we're competing for. This is the big one for me this week, the casual lineup. No, not going to talk about it. Don't overly care.
Gomez is injured, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, not injured, but he's not going to play.
Yeah, and this is where it comes to the reality, and everyone else is probably in similar boats watching at home, where it's like, yeah, this is the biggest throwaway team. He played 4 minutes last game. He's just back in training yesterday. He got announced as getting dropped. He's always guaranteed not to start. He didn't play last week, but it's like, what else am I going to do with him? All right, let's put him in the team and hope we win like the ultra lottery. You know, McBride's talking about a clean sheet for the lottery. I'm talking about 5 players that aren't going to play. But then back to reality now. A team I'm really interested for until, you know, Quinny popped my bubble was the underdog. So now there's no goalkeeper needed. You know, I've got so many options I can play here. So like Daryl Dike, I think should be starting, although I haven't done too much research into it. I did see him score in preseason, which was good. Wanyama's just that guaranteed to play. You know, this is where I could drop in Turnbull. And what I would do is drop in Key if I replace him with, you know, that kind of, if I get Turnbull sold or bring in a loan. And then like Rio, I said, yeah, he's just been electric preseason. I really think he could take off this year, just go back to his old like 60s every week. And Bellis, yeah, I overthought. I was just like, he's obviously going to play, or why wouldn't he? But
maybe
yeah,
he will. Maybe he will.
Check that. I mean,
just
he played in
shaking
the championship all season. He played well, and he's at a better team. So, Diego Laxalt could come in. Golly, yeah. Nice 31 last week. Julian, any chance of him starting ahead of Welsh? Probably not.
No chance.
Yeah. So the only thing I could do it's like,
I would definitely bin your specialist team.
Yeah. I mean,
I'd bin it and get Turnbull moved somewhere else, and I don't know. Maybe looking at Harwood Bellis before you start doing surgery in that. But I think that's definitely Turnbull will feature in Sod's Law. The rest of that team will die, and Turnbull will come off the bench and get 65, and you'll be raging.
He scored in the weekend, didn't he? Come on, it was like 5 minutes in, and he scored. He played really well. It's just a manager choice or a style thing, really.
Yeah, do you know what? I think you're right. If we do this, then we you know, and then would you captain him? No, because he's not going to. Yeah, you got to stick. I'll stick with my.
I'd probably captain Rio.
Yeah, exactly. Captain Rio, and then that. I hate this draft. Do any of you hate the draft? I always miss teams because they just drop out. I wish they just had a red X. Is that just me? Yeah,
I've not had a problem with it. Sorry.
No, Louis Morgan will just drop in from a training team. Yeah, essentially that's burnt anyway. We knew that. The only thing, have you got any thoughts about All-Star versus Challenger this week in particular? Like Celtic's fixture in general is quite tough, you know, against the rest of the world. I'm saying here, you know, it's not a walkover game, and there'll be a couple of teams in America like River Plate, I'm sure, have a walkover fixture. So narrowing it down. Challenger, anyone got strong opinions?
I would probably say All-Star. I think a lot of people will go with specialists and stuff like that, but a lot of the Celtic cards, a lot of people won't, or some people will have stacks and stuff, but I think, you know, if you do have one of the big cards like a Vickers or something, or a Hart, maybe you're going to put that as your defence play for specialist and that kind of thing, or a Challenger.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty much it from me.
Solid, mate. Right, I've only got 4 teams, so I'll be able to just literally dash through these super quick. And then we'll be on our way. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is my best looking lineup, I guess, on paper. Zion's championship debut. Jesus Ferreira, we've been over it. Good fixture. Yeah, Ivor Sharon away, but again, really good fixture. So Young Woo at home to John Book, I believe. Gangwon. And then, yeah, Van der Voort at home to Liège. I'm hoping for a clean sheet, but no guarantees there. But yeah, definitely my strongest 5. Going into the Super Rares, it'll compete. Obviously, going in with a rare, but I wanted a bit of correlation with Tanny. Obviously, I would like this to be a super, but it's just not. Koga away to Kobe. Obviously, they've been hit or miss. They've been a little bit better recently, and they're at home, so I don't fancy Raysol really to keep a clean sheet. That's why I've split up my Saskai and Koga. I'd normally sort of try and stack them. Varela away from home, but they're not playing against anyone crazy. I'm hoping he just churns a nice little AA for me. And then Cho Young-woo did play in like an exhibition game or something against Japan yesterday or the night before. He came on for like 25 minutes. So yeah, there's a risk there, definitely, that he could definitely DMP. Similar to Mitsuta. Mitsuta had 2 minutes in that game as well, along with a load of Japanese lads who are like, you know, older, not under 23s. And yeah, cheeky little under 23 rare. I don't think this does much, to be completely honest. Pablo Ruiz suspended for me. Leaves me a little bit light on midfielders. Tsunemoto's in, but really tough fixture away to Marinos. And you'll see why I kind of went with Daiki as my as a rare in the super rare division, is because I do have Big Seki, but I just don't fancy him. To be fair, I think he'll play because the last game the other centre back got a red card or 2 yellows, so he should start. I don't fancy him to score well. Campbell away to Chicago is actually a decent fixture, but Atlanta is so hit and miss. I just don't know. I just can't trust anything they do right now. And this guy's my new little T3 that I won 2 weeks ago. It was part of that reward swap thing that I did because my rewards were overage. But he scored like 51 or something last week. He's like 19 or 20, plays for Newell's. He was L15 under 40 or 50. 50. And then Akida super rare. He's hit and miss, but he could just get me a decisive. He could whip in a corner, and you just never know. There could just be a little decisive there for me. 50% bonus as captain, and that's basically what I'm going in with. First time in a while I've not played an all-star rare team. I technically could play the under 23 rare and then hope for ETH. Thoughts on that, but other than that, I'm pretty set. I don't really have many other options. Sergio Gomez is injured for me, so pretty light this week. But at the same time, I'm still in with a shout. Definitely with the under 23 pro team. The rest are big gambles, I'd say.
I think if the option is play for ETH or don't play for ETH, I'd say play for ETH.
I agree. Because you said yourself, you're not really.
Yeah, 23s. Don't be daft.
Yeah. See,
the 23 scoring's down a bit just now because you've not got a lot of the main players left. So I'll get every 23 team imaginable right into the 23s until they come back. So no Mbappe, or all the big players, like all the players from Holland.
Oh, Jota's back. The biggest player's back. Big Jota.
Jota? Oh yeah, forgot about him. Yeah.
To be fair, I think everyone. I have a feeling that people are going to play Jotas and the end. You know what I'm saying? I feel like he's going to be played elsewhere for the most part. I'm not saying there won't be any Jotas in under 23s, but I have a feeling he's going to be played elsewhere.
Yeah, mine's
We've only got a minute left, just so we know.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, should we wrap it up?
Yeah.
Okay, boys, I really do appreciate you coming on the channel. McBride, your debut. Really appreciate your time, lads. Guys at home, if you enjoyed, please do give the video a like, comment below. I don't even know what to comment. Okay. What about Celtics? We'll do Celtic predictions for the weekend. I'm going to say 2-0.
But the first half.
Come on now.